Welcome back to Studio Chatter. There is no better time than the first of the year to talk with our next guest. We know her and we love her. Welcome Connie Sokol to the Chatter.
Hello.
Welcome, Connie.
It says to talk to you, but we just want you to talk to us.
Okay, I should fix up some brownies. Girls, let's chat.
Yes, lean in and give us the good Connieisms that we
need
just
2021.
love.
We need some something
sweet.
to get us going.
I just want to say congrats to all of us that we made it through 2020
That's
with a
true.
collective
Pat yourself on the back.
like high five, high five.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
we
really
did
was a year, like everyone says that it's hard, but it really was like we were constantly having to like transition into something new and something new and lots of anxieties and
a lot of adjusting. I was talking sea legs. We had to constantly get our sea legs and kind of pivot and change and all of these adjusting words. But you're talking to a Pollyanna because seriously, I know I saw so many good things happen. It's so true that if you want to break out of the cocoon, you have to have that thing, that catalyst that puts you out there and goes, I'm out of that regular zone. I'm out of the regular routine and the daily trenches. And it keeps you kind of going like this, and you have to change the dance. You have to say, do I still like this? Do I still want to be like this? And I think on a large scale, everybody had to reassess, get back to the nubs and go,
questions.
yeah, what is
really
it? What's
true.
really meaningful to me? And do I want to change anything for reals? Not just New Year's resolution kind of 2 weeks, but really, what do I need to shift? I think it's fabulous.
Right, and I think it gave us like permission almost with all the changes to say, hey, I'm actually liking how we're doing this better. I'm going to roll with this a little bit. Like it gave us permission to change.
Absolutely.
New permission and new perspective.
Yeah.
Like, what could I do different? What could I do better? What
Do I like what I've been doing?
Like
I
people
was
were okay because there's so much change going on that it's been a good time for that as well.
And you get a pass. I mean, a lot of women are so, that I talk to and work with, they just are so afraid of making mistakes. A lot of this toxic perfectionism.
Yes.
And it kind of gave everyone a pass. If you didn't show up with whatever, you didn't have it, everyone just kind of went, yeah, COVID. 2020 was the mulligan year. Like, oh yeah, okay, that's what it is. You know, so like
So
everybody
true.
kind of gave each other a pass that was so needed.
Wouldn't that be nice to move forward forever to give each other a pass?
Exactly. How do we keep it?
Yeah.
And I think that's when I'm talking to people, they're kind of asking those questions of new breath, new year, but how do I keep the learning from 2020 and the good pieces and the slower pace and but still move forward and now and not be in this. A lot of women I talk to are kind of in limbo. Like, I don't want to commit to anything because I don't know what's coming next. And now I feel this sort of ascension mode of people kind of being like, okay, I'm ready to be intentional. I'm ready to choose something.
Is that like your rumble that you're talking about?
Yes!
One of your points?
That is listen to the rumble. And across the board, women independent of each other that I'm talking to or meeting, and they're saying, I'm feeling this something, like something rumbling inside me, and I don't know what it is exactly, but I'm feeling to do something or be more, or not faster, not busier at all, but just more meaning and more depth, or keep focusing on what matters most, being a woman, wife, mother, aunt, sister, whatever, and add on this other thing of how can I help more? I've seen more needs and I want to be more effective in sharing something, but I don't know how to do that. So that's the definite first thing. Listen to the rumble, because what we do as women, you probably felt this, but you're doing homework, it's online schooling, and you're dealing meal at dinner, and you're going and doing, but you're feeling this thing that's kind of calling to you. Okay, frozen moment. But anyway, it's calling to you and you're kind of like, no, I don't have time for this. Do I have time for this? But it will not let you alone. There's, in those quiet moments, you're feeling this, I can be of use and I don't know what that looks like.
So then what's the next
so what do we
question
do?
is,
Right.
okay, what if you feel the rumble and it's only a rumble and you don't know what the rumble is? Because oftentimes you think, I know what it is, but what if it's just like, I can feel a shift? Just be open to it?
Absolutely. Open a space to welcome it, embrace it, get curious, get a discover kind of feeling, this discovery mode of, I wonder what that is. Do not shut it down. I don't have time for this. We don't have time, money. We don't have whatever. I don't think that's okay for me to do. But just open yourself up to it. And I so encourage women to do the angel mode, where they just go on their bed and just go, and then just close their eyes. Don't think about organizing your purse or your grocery list or all that stuff. You just lay down and just take some deep breaths, 4x4 breathing. Just breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, let go for 4, and then another 4. And just kind of lay there. And then if you can, have a sticky notepad right next to you and just write down some buzzwords. Don't sit up and write a whole essay. Just sit down and just write some buzzwords that come to mind. This is so powerful, because as you open the door and let yourself start to feel it, you'll start thinking of a few things. You'll start thinking of life experiences that you've had that were meaningful, that you're like, I felt so happy when I did that, or when I experienced that, or when I helped someone with that. Or you'll think of talents and abilities that you maybe haven't thought of in a long time. And you'll be like, I remember when I used to love to do that. I remember how I used to volunteer for such and such. And these ideas and thoughts will start coming, and I call it the Velcro principle. You just start Velcroing them. You just start putting them on, maybe Post-it notes on a little board. I even encourage women to get a little cardboard thing, like those little cardboard placemat things you get in a little packet. And you just start putting sticky notes on of different words that come to mind. And just over days and weeks, just keep putting those sticky notes on. See what starts to come.
So Connie, can I ask you, like for me, I've noticed in those times, outside influences, whether it's going to lunch with a girlfriend, chatting with my kids or my mom, just being with other people, and it leads a conversation or direction or opens up something. I think that that's powerful, women supporting or needing other women. And it's just like, that was just lunch with someone I hadn't seen with.
But totally change your perspective a little bit.
It shifted my thought process so much that led me down a path for a couple months that solidified something, but all it was lunch.
Oh my gosh.
Does that make sense?
That is a beautiful, we should put that on a pillow. All it was lunch. Lunch for women, lunch for women is therapy, it's connection, it's workout, it's joy, it is culinary delight. It is everything for women. It is our 21st century washing wall, where we get together and just in the sharing, women are wired for synergy and sharing and connectivity. And as we engage in that, then it's the 1 + 1 = 642 principle, where you're sharing some things, and then that's a catalyst, and then that makes a connection, and that connects, and then suddenly you're like, I had never thought of it that way. Susan G. Madsen, if you're familiar with her, she's a global scholar for women, all about women's studies and all of those things and the impact of women. And she says it takes about 3 taps on the shoulder. It takes a tap and then another tap for someone to go, you would be really good at. Do you know, we would love for you to help us with. I've noticed you're so good at XYZ. Would you mind just helping out a little bit with that? And we start going, oh, something that seems so normal, so whatever, but this rumble combines with this talents and abilities, and you start to open up to possibilities.
Those 3 taps actually happened to me, Connie, when I
tell.
With City Council. I had those rumblings. I was doing other things. I was super involved. Busy year, probably one of my busiest years of my life. But then some people were tapping me. 3. Have you thought about running for City Council? Why, no. Well, maybe a little, but this is just a thought. And who am I? And then someone else next week. Have you thought about putting your name in for City Council? Really? Again, 3 people. Women need that.
Yes, they
need.
We need
like,
validation and taps. I think we do, because we don't feel as capable, maybe, to take on those bigger roles. I don't know.
Even those
or to
studies
step
show,
outside of our comfort zone.
That's exactly it. It's stepping outside and having that confidence to say, I have the skills, or I will get them in the doing. And that's, again, that toxic perfectionism, or maybe it's they're not getting a lot of support from people who are close to them that are saying, yeah, you really should do that. If they're not, if they're dealing with those 2 things, it makes it hard for a woman to move forward. But even those studies show that women are generally over-prepared for whatever it is that they would want to take on, and men consider themselves to be prepared, but they're generally underprepared. But what they have, and we can totally learn from, and I love learning from them, is this bravado, this, I can do this.
I can do it.
I can totally go. Sheryl Sandberg talks
Instead
about
we overthink it and process it.
Exactly.
Then talk ourselves down.
Yes.
So
That's
we're like, no, we
exactly
can't.
it. And before you know it, you're like, no, I could never do that. Where's the brownies, right? Yeah, that's exactly it. I love that you bring up that point, and that you listened to those 3 taps and you took that momentum, that
leap of
action.
Faith, yeah.
That leap of faith.
Yeah.
Love. And that's
Rumbles.
listening to the rumble. So anybody watching, if they're feeling that rumble, it is so wise to really find 5 minutes of stillness and just really explore, why am I feeling that? What does this relate to? What experiences that I have that are leading me to feel this way? I have a free download, if you're interested, ConnieSokol.com, and it's a mini life plan and a find your purpose exercise that helps you sort of brainstorm and then kind of funnel down really easy, simple steps, but can help people if they're in that place that they're like, well, I don't know, and that kind of gives you a guide.
And I want to say we're talking big things like run for City Council or whatever, but there's also those times in life where the rumbles are, let's just be a mom or a grandma. And it's not just be that, because to me, those are the biggest things we can be.
But do I change from working full-time to maybe going part-time?
Right.
Or
do I work? When I was in my 20s, I wanted to have all these things, but yet most important, I wanted to be at home. So I listened to the rumble of, now is your time at home. So those are all important. So it doesn't have to be grandiose and showy. It can be in the walls of your own home.
Could be next steps.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I think that's the major thing that at least I teach women, but I'm finding that people are kind of coming back to. It seemed like in the last 20 years, women felt like they needed to find fulfillment outside the home, or 30, 40 years, of find kind of this parallel tracks. I have to be either or, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the case. I think women and people generally speaking around the world, relationships matter the most. So we are going to be the happiest, the most fulfilled when we put our energy into those most important relationships. So I always talk about being a mom, and we have to keep our home fires burning and those relationships being nurtured. And we can also take the talents and abilities we have and wisely use them. And that's the beauty. I don't know if you've been hearing anything about this, but this feminine manner, this feminine power, so to speak, of there's a feminine way of doing things. And we've had a lot of, I call it feminine energy, but this masculine energy, which is beautiful and it's wonderful and it's a needed part, it's been a lot of masculine energy. It's hustle, it's let's go, let's make results, it's really driven. But this feminine energy that comes in to complete this, it completes it, but comes in to complete it, it's this grace and ease and flow and how are you doing and how can I help you feel a need and connection. So we add those two together and we can pivot to whatever is needed for a situation. This is what's so important for women to understand. We actually can do more with less because we have connections, we have synergy with other women. So we can actually say, you know what, I feel to do this, but we don't have to do a 5-step plan like a man does. We can say, I can do it like this and I can pull in so-and-so and my friend does this and I can take her kids while she takes mine. And we make it an experience, not just what we need to do.
Hold that thought.
True.
We need to sharpen our pencils, so hold on. More with Connie coming right up. Stay with us.